Hello!
Welcome to our brand new channel.
Surprise! We are starting a YouTube channel. We are so excited about it, and today we are starting off our channel by sharing our daughter's birth story.
The only way we'd know how, starting with the new centerpiece to our life.
Yeah. So in our YouTube channel, we're going to be sharing things that are baby related, but we're also going to be focusing on like vlogs, daily life.
Stuff that we do.
Yeah, I might share beauty and fashion content. We will do kind of challenges, food related stuff. We're building a home, so we might share some home related content. So stay tuned, more to come. We also might do like a Q&A soon so that you can get to know us if you found us via YouTube. But if you did find us via YouTube, my name is Katie. This is my husband,
Kendall.
And then we have a daughter named Cameron and a Bernedoodle named Raleigh. We can't forget about him. So today, birth story. Let's do this.
Let's go.
Okay, so where do we begin? We were induced.
Yeah.
If you did not know.
You were induced.
I was induced. I always say we. I feel like it's normal to say we. But we got induced only because we were past our due date.
Yep.
And so we were 40 weeks and 2 days. And we were told to come into the hospital at 8 p.m. So,
and boy, did we get there at 8 p.m.
Oh my gosh, we were so excited and anxious. We should have been less excited because the moment we walk in,
no room at the end.
Yeah, things started kind of crumbling a little bit. So Kendall drops me off, I go upstairs, I eagerly walk up to the receptionist and I'm like, Katiehsnyder, ready to have my baby. And they said, you're probably gonna get sent home because we don't have any rooms. So Kendall comes up with all these luggage carts full of our stuff. And I'm very irritated because I wanted to have this baby and they said it might be a few more days if we left. So they said we could go to the waiting room.
And we went.
We went to the waiting room.
We set up shop, we watched The Bachelor, and we made ourselves comfortable.
We made some friends who were also IVF parents, and they had been waiting for several hours, so we knew that we were probably in it for the long haul. And we ended up getting called back to our room at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, just before
like 11:30, 12.
Just before midnight, yeah.
So we take all of our belongings and we head to our room. And little did we know that's the room that you have the child in. Yeah, that was a little
bit, you know, shocking because you get there and you're like, we're about to have a baby in this room.
Yeah, you see the, is it an incubator?
I don't know. We saw all the stuff.
Don't know the word. But you see where your daughter is going to lay her head, and she's still in your stomach, and you're just thinking, this is crazy. So I get connected to the monitors. There was a heart rate monitor for me, and then a heart rate monitor for baby. We did not know her name at this point, so we were still calling her baby.
Baby Snyder.
And we start the process. So we knew that since I wasn't progressing at every single appointment, that I probably was gonna have to have several different procedures done in order to start dilating. So the first thing was a balloon. I had never heard about that.
Neither.
Before.
No. I mean, regular standard balloon.
Yeah, before us going through the induction process, and regular standard balloon.
That's all
This is not the same. So basically they put a balloon up there.
Contraption, and then they pump it with water.
Yes, and so it expands and makes your cervix expand, I think, and that way you dilate and your labor progresses. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, so it was kind of a trial and error. And then after they inserted that, I started contracting a little bit, but 3 hours later they inserted a medication up with the balloon called Servadril.
Something like that.
That might be wrong, but I think it's Servadril, and that is supposed to help also progress your labor.
And boy did it.
Wow. So I thought I was still half a centimeter dilated because that's what I was whenever I came into the hospital, and that's what I had been for a few weeks prior to coming into the hospital.
But you basically went into contractions right away, like intense contractions.
Little did we know I hit labor pretty much immediately, and I was going through crazy intense contractions. I was grappling onto Kendall's arm, screaming practically.
2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 90-second intervals.
Oh,
just
it was back to back to back.
Intense.
But I didn't want to ask for an epidural because who gets an epidural at half a centimeter? I mean, come on.
Right.
So I was trying just to push through it, and eventually the doctors changed shifts and a new one came in, and she checked me and I was 4 centimeters. And so she said, hey girl, you are in active labor. You can absolutely get your epidural now. So I took that and ran with it. And I said, yes, sign me up, please.
I'll be next on the list, please.
Yes. So it took 45 minutes. They got down there. And by that time I was 6 centimeters. So I was really moving along. And the epidural did not hurt at all. You sit up on the end of the bed, they walk you through it, talk you through it as they do it, and didn't hurt. But it was my saving grace.
Yes. From that point on, Katie was relatively comfortable. She wasn't having to grab onto walls and,
I was holding on to my hospital bed.
She wasn't sending up Hail Marys anymore, so
Oh
that allowed me to have a little bit more comfort as well.
What time was the epidural? It was like...
Oh my goodness. Probably...
6 a.m.?
Yeah, probably around 6 a.m.
6?
Yeah.
So once I got the epidural, the balloon had come out, and I, again, was in active labor. They were just waiting for me to progress. Wasn't feeling my contractions as much, but Kendall was eyes glued to the monitor because he can watch the monitor where he can see my heart rate, he can see my contractions.
I can see the
he can
contractions,
see
baby's
contractions, or baby's contractions,
her
baby's
heart rate, everything, yeah.
So he was watching that. I was just kind of chilling, and I was on the phone with my mom, FaceTiming her, and all of a sudden our alarm goes off in our room.
Yeah. So I had noticed that baby Snyder, aka Cameron's heart rate was dropping to really low levels, and I said, Katie, I think something's going. And before I could even get it out of my mouth, 6 nurses rush in with a doctor, flip Katie on her side, bust open a cabinet, oxygen mask to Katie.
It was so scary.
It was
I was
intense.
like hanging up with my mom, and
Yeah.
I was looking at Kendall thinking, what is happening?
Essentially, they had to adjust Katie's position because Cameron wasn't getting enough oxygen, and they had to do that 2 or 3 times. The first time was definitely the most scary, but every time after that was not comfortable for sure.
No, not at all. They told us it was pretty normal, but
Fairly
for us,
normal, yeah.
not normal at all.
No.
So they also, when they came in the first time, they gave me a shot. They realized that I was progressing too quickly.
Yeah.
So the combination of the balloon and the Servidril, again, sometimes it doesn't work on some people, but for me, really
Hyperdrive.
pushed me into overdrive. So we took the shot, or I took the shot in my leg, and that made the labor slow down.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of hours to spare, and we were just kind of,
I got a cup of coffee.
yeah, we were hanging out,
Yeah.
laying low, and then
Laughing, talking about names because we hadn't had a name
yeah,
decided
we had
yet.
2 names, and we were still trying to figure out what we were going to name her,
Yeah.
but we decided to wait. So basically, we get checked the next time at 4:30.
And the doctor says, "Sweetie, you're all the way there."
Yeah, you're ready to start pushing. Let me go get my team together, and we'll be right back. So we start freaking out. I start freaking out. I start bawling, crying, and I was telling Kendall, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah.
It was like the moment came, and I knew it was coming, but once it actually got there, I was mortified.
Yeah.
So I called my mom again. Girls, always need their mamas. So I called my mom again. She talked me off the ledge, and we got ready. And as soon as the nurses walk in, I am feeling pretty good.
You're ready.
I'm so ready.
Yeah.
And we got some
Confident.
bad news. Not great news.
They said that one of our neighbors was doing a natural birth, and she was a little bit more priority because of it. And so they said, "Sweetie, put it on pause. We're gonna wait on this one." And poor Katie, we didn't know how long. We didn't know. They were short staffed, so I was really concerned that it may be a staffing issue at that point. And all Katie did was basically go into full Zen mode.
Yeah, Zen mode, breathing exercises. Yeah. Kendall was giving me ice chips, and I just had to wait. I was not in control at all of when the doctor was going to come in, and I just had to. We didn't have a timeline either.
No.
I mean, this was a natural
They said, "Just wait."
delivery, and we just had to wait. And side note, the whole day, the reason I was so terrified about pushing was because we were sandwiched in between 2 rooms of women who were doing natural deliveries.
Yeah.
More power to you if that's your choice.
Whew, hats off,
that
ladies.
Epidural, but we heard them scream the entire day. It was awful. A nurse walked in at some point and said, "Have you heard the exorcism happening behind you?"
It was a bad
I
horror
was like,
movie.
yeah. Thankfully, we had a labor and delivery playlist that we had cranked all the way up to the max. But basically, I did breathing exercises for almost 2 hours.
Yes. Yep.
So 6:30, the doctor finally comes in.
And so we're thinking to ourselves, "Oh my gosh, now is the time."
Yes, we have finally made it to the time to start pushing. They get my legs up on those stirrups. That was not fun. If you think putting your legs up on the stirrups at an OBGYN appointment is not fun, just wait until you're about to push a baby out. My face, I would pay money to have a picture of my face at that point. So doctor is at the end, Kendall's on the side, nurse is on the side, and we start pushing. And we push for about 20 minutes, and things are going well. They say that they can see baby. And what happened with her heart rate when we had to?
She got into the birthing canal, and whenever Katie would contract, it would squeeze her, and her heart rate wouldn't respond the way they wanted her to. And so they let it go 1 or 2 times, and then they said, "Hey, if this happens again, we're gonna have to think about doing
Using the vacuum.
a vacuum."
which sounds very strange, and it was very strange.
They explained to us the risks and the benefits of it, and we said, whatever you think is best for baby and mom, please do. So at that point, they got the vacuum out, and we went from there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't but what, 20 more minutes?
Yeah, I would say it was about, 6:50 was 15 minutes of pushing, because we started using the vacuum around 6:50 and started pushing with my contractions, and we had her out at 7:06 p.m. So I remember whenever she came out, just feeling this whooshing feeling. Pushing did not hurt. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I was just trying my best to push, but you can't feel what you're doing. So I was just listening to Kendall and the doctor, and they said I was doing well. So I just kept doing what I was doing. She came out, felt this huge relief, or release, I guess, from my stomach area, obviously. They flung Cameron on my chest. Kendall and I start bawling, crying.
Amazing moment.
Kendall is like in my chest as well. So I've got Cameron on one side, Kendall on the other. And we are crying. Our playlist, it was on shuffle, and the song that came on immediately after Cameron came out was our first dance song, which is Yours by Russell Dickerson.
It was incredible.
And, oh
we
my
had
gosh.
to tell the nurses, we're like, you'll never believe what song this is.
We started bawling, crying even harder, and then Cameron gets weighed. She was 7 pounds, 1 ounce, and then they measured her. She was 20 inches long, so healthy, so beautiful, and we were in pure bliss.
Yeah, absolutely. Until we got some strange news about 2 hours later.
Yeah. My epidural had worn off of everything except for my bladder. So they had to go in to drain my bladder with a catheter. And when they went to do that, before I went up to the mother baby unit with Kendall and Cameron, they found a hematoma, which is as bad
Ugly
as it sounds. Yeah, do not Google it. And so when you have a hematoma, you have to drain it. There's no other choice.
Okay.
So they had to give me a lidocaine shot in that area. Mind you, I can feel everything except for my bladder. So they give me a lidocaine shot. I scream when that happens. And then they start draining it with a scalpel immediately. They did not give it any time for it to numb up. And the whole time they are draining this hematoma,
Oh, she is just...
I was the one having the exorcism at this point.
She is, I mean, it was way worse than labor.
Oh my gosh.
She
I
was
was
screaming
bloody murder. It was so painful.
Oh, it sounded horrible.
And then they tell me that they might have to drain it again, and they have to keep an eye on it. So we had to stay down in the labor and delivery unit for a little while longer. My mom was there at this point, so she hung out with us for a while, and then we eventually got discharged to go up to mother baby. So we, as a family, went up to mother baby, recovered there. We got to see a lactation consultant. We had to spend 2 days there because I tested positive for group B strep, and when you do that, you have to stay for 48 hours after delivery. So we spent 48 hours just soaking all of it in. We did have some breastfeeding and postpartum, things to deal with. Yeah, we were learning along the way. We were definitely lacking sleep. We were pretty delirious.
I mean, we hadn't even chose her name.
Yeah, no, we hadn't chose her name, so we were having to talk over that.
Yeah.
But overall, we just had the best experience, even with, the bumps in the road. It's going to happen with every single delivery.
Definitely.
But it was the most beautiful process. And even though after it happened, I told Kendall, how do people have more than one child? I will never have another baby. I'm already ready again.
I was really thankful for all the people we interacted with the time we were there. I mean, we had a lot of nurses and doctors that
they were all incredible.
The specialists, the consultants we saw, everybody was incredible. So
yeah, even the doctor that delivered Cameron, we had never met before because it was a doctor from a different place. That was who was on call, and she was great. So it was an overall beautiful experience, but we are gonna get into a Q&A because on my Instagram, I asked y'all to send us over some questions and we are gonna answer them. Okay, so I have the questions here that you asked on Instagram, and we're only gonna answer like 5 or 6 of the most asked questions just because we will be way too long-winded if we answer more than that. So the one that was asked time and time again was, what was the other name? Because you all know that we had 2 names, narrowed it down to, and how we came up with the name Cameron, why we named her with a C instead of a K. So we're gonna answer all of those. We'll start with how we chose the name Cameron.
Yeah, so we had a name that we always liked for a girl. We thought that would probably be the name we went with. We were coming back from our baby shower.
Gender reveal.
And we were saying, do you still like the name? Do you still like the name? And
I think it was when we realized that it was actually a girl, it seemed so much more real. And so years before that, we thought, oh, it'll for sure be this name if we have a girl. But then it happened and we didn't feel that way. So we started doing some research.
And we started talking about names that were in our genre. We like last names. We like gender neutral names.
Yep.
And so we were looking at all the last name-y gender neutral names. And
I was Googling them while Kendall was driving and I started reading them out. I liked a couple, he liked a couple, but the only name that we both said, oh my gosh, yes, I love on was Cameron.
Yeah.
So we had the one name that we've loved for years and then Cameron. And we decided we just weren't going to name her until we saw her. Because we
And
loved both names so much.
the funny thing is, after we saw her, we both thought that it was going to be the other name.
Yep.
And we sat there for about 24 hours. And then her facial expressions changed, her head, everything about her changed. And we both looked at each other the next day and I said, I think it's Cameron.
Yeah, it was surefire,
Yeah.
Cameron, absolutely.
From that point on, we were like, bring us the papers.
Yeah.
It's
So,
Cameron Elizabeth Snyder.
I know probably 50% of these questions is what was the other name that you didn't end up choosing, and we aren't going to share that. It does start with a
M.
Yeah, we said we were going to share the letter. It starts with an M, and we just decided in case we had another girl.
We're going to save it, put it in our back pocket.
Yeah, we want to have it, and we don't like getting opinions on our names because
Right.
then it might change our minds. We're impressionable.
Yeah, we don't
people.
want someone to be like, oh my gosh, ugh,
Yeah.
thank goodness you didn't pick that M name.
Yeah, so we love both names, but our girl is for sure a Cameron.
That's her.
We also had the question of, does Cameron's name come from family? The name Cameron does not. It was just a name we really liked, but we decided we wanted her middle name to be feminine since her first name is more gender neutral. And her middle name is actually my middle name, Elizabeth, and my grandmother's first name. So it is a family name, but Cameron is not.
And we always knew the middle name for whatever first name would be Elizabeth. So.
Yes, we chose Elizabeth years ago.
Yeah.
So we stuck with that for both the name we didn't choose and the name we chose. I have a lot of questions about must-haves for new mothers, must-haves for newborns, what to bring and what not to bring to the hospital in your hospital bag. And instead of doing that here, I'm going to do separate videos. So stay tuned, those videos are coming. Leave a comment below with which one you wanna see first and I will get those filmed ASAP. Okay, another one that was asked so often is, how is breastfeeding going? Are you nursing? Are you pumping? Are you formula feeding? So that is definitely a loaded question. We assumed before going into the hospital that we were going to nurse, or I was going to nurse Cameron, but after trying that at the hospital for several days and then coming home and trying for a few days, I was in so much pain. It was hard enough recovering from postpartum after delivering because it was a natural delivery. We didn't have a C-section, obviously. So it was hard enough having to recover for that. And the nipple pain on top of that just wasn't doable for me.
I would also say that neither of you guys were getting the most out of it. I mean, Cameron definitely was struggling to get everything she needed during feeds, and
She was
you
struggling
were in so much pain.
She was a great latcher, but she did not suck consistently.
Yeah.
So she would suck, 6 times and then she would stop for a second. And then she would suck 3 times and then she would stop. So we ultimately saw a lactation consultant. Our hospital had a lactation consultant that came around. She was a godsend.
Our saving grace, if you have the option, don't say to yourself, we're too tired to talk to somebody. See that person.
Yes.
They were absolutely amazing for us.
She helped tremendously. And we decided to change to just pumping. And that has worked beautifully for us. It aligns with our lifestyle better. We're the type of people who still like to go out on date nights and, have time to ourselves or travel if we need to without having to bring Cameron. We want to bring her everywhere, but we sometimes can't, if you're going to a wedding or something. So we decided to switch to pumping. So I'm exclusively pumping, which means Kendall can help feed Cameron, which is
so important to me.
Amazing. Yeah. And then whenever she stays with grandparents or a babysitter, they can feed her as well. So right now we are exclusively pumping using breast milk, and
we love it.
Yeah, she has had to breastfeed or nurse a few times, but she has a little bit of nipple confusion. So we're trying to just stay with the pumping, and hopefully we can do that for as long as we can without switching to formula. But if we have to, we're okay with that too.
Absolutely.
We're not gonna put too much pressure on ourselves. And somebody asked if I'm still liking the Symphony pump. Yes, I love the Symphony pump. We are renting the Medela Symphony pump from a local breastfeeding boutique, and we love it. I am going to purchase the Baby Buddha pumping, or the portable pump, because we are gonna go on a trip in November, and carrying this on a flight would be
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy. So I am gonna get that. So I will let you all know how I end up liking that. But as far as the pump to have at home and the one that we're renting, it's $2,500. So buying it was out of the question, but it is amazing.
It's only $60 a month to rent. So
yeah, from our boutique.
Great deal.
A lot of questions about postpartum, and I am very passionate about postpartum now. I think that I had a one-track mind, and that was just getting Cameron here.
Yeah.
I did not think or prepare my mind or my body for what I was going to.
We had the wrong finish line.
Yes, we thought the finish line was her arriving.
Yeah.
The finish line actually is, there's never a finish line.
Nope.
But postpartum for me has been very difficult. I have not experienced postpartum depression. I did break down crying one time to Kendall and told him how sad I was.
A lot of emotions.
Life was over.
Yeah.
I love Cameron to death. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But it is strange that your life just ends.
Yeah.
Just an abrupt ending.
The life as you know it ends.
Yeah, and so you're starting a whole new life. But postpartum recovery for me was very difficult. The hematoma did make that much worse. They did say that that would...
It extended it by 2 weeks. For
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So it was intense and a little bit longer than most recoveries. But I think that as much as you're preparing your baby registry, your crib, your stroller, your car seat, all those things, you also need to focus on preparing a postpartum kit as well, because you're going to need all the things: diapers, pads,
We're just talking about
numbing
for mom.
spray. Yeah, just for,
This is all the stuff for mom.
Yeah, this is, you need to have something totally separate that is all for you.
Yeah.
Big t-shirts. It's just something I never could have prepared myself for. So it's not like there's something I could have said or done to have mentally or physically prepared myself, but it shocked me.
Yeah, and get all the help you can get, because
Yes, it
you
takes
need
a village. Take advantage of it.
You need to take care of yourself and let other people take care of your newborn.
Yep, absolutely. So postpartum for me, difficult, but I did get through it. It passes. Tell yourself every day is one step closer to the end. So now I'm doing great. I can walk, I can even run. Doing great. I have questions about Cameron's sleeping process. So I mentioned on Instagram that I found an Instagram account that is all about newborn, infant, toddler sleep. I will put the tag right here because it has been a godsend. We had an angel of a child for the first week. She did not cry. She slept all the time, slept a lot during the night. And then all of a sudden, the first weekend that we were by ourselves, Friday night and a Saturday night, we were up all night long.
Rude awakening, for sure.
And I ended up coming upon this Instagram account, and I learned so much that we started implementing. And it was really just a few things
Simple
here and
things.
there. Yeah, like opening the blinds during the day so that they know that it's daylight outside. You know, taking them on walks so that they can get the sun to hit their face. We also started nap capping, so we only let her sleep for 2 hours during the day. And then at night, now that she's gained enough weight, we let her sleep however long she'll sleep. And she goes 5+ hour stints at night, which is incredible.
It really is.
So we have just been implementing these small things here and there that have really put her into a schedule, and it's been working wonderfully. It might not work for all babies, but it works for her.
Could change at any time, but right now we are just knocking on wood.
Yeah, so I strongly suggest you check out the Instagram account. Again, I have her right here, and she is amazing. I'm actually going to sign us up for one of her courses because I think it'll help long term as well.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. I'll throw in a couple of rapid fire questions. One, did you tear? Yes. 2nd degree tear. And did you have a birth plan? We did not have a birth plan. We just are go with the flow people, and we just didn't want to, make parameters that were probably going to get broken anyways. How was your induction experience? I would not have an induction again. Anybody who's asked me, I've said I don't recommend it, but to each their own. If I could have gone back, I would have chosen to wait and try my best to wait it out until she came naturally. Some people asked about if Kendall fainted. He did not. He was great. He was my right-hand man.
There's a lot of gross stuff in there, guys. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but whenever it's your wife and it's your baby, you completely change, and that's what I realized.
Insane. It was the most beautiful
You
thing to
become
witness as a
numb
wife.
to all the things that gross you out, but it was still gross looking back.
He was amazing. Do not let him fool you. He was amazing. Okay, now that we've answered way more than 5 or 6 questions,
Go
we're
figure,
finally
we did something over the top. Okay.
long-winded. We're gonna answer our last one, and that is, what was the biggest adjustment you had to make that you did not see coming?
Me?
You go first.
Patience. Gotta be patient. Patient with Cameron, patient with mom, patient with yourself. Nothing happens in the time you think it is. There is no cause and effect. And you just have to basically say, I don't know why she's crying. I'm gonna go through all these steps to try to make her feel better. And if that doesn't work, we're just gonna sit there and laugh and sing to her.
Touche. I would say just the adjustment to a daily schedule. I am a worker bee. I love being productive, and while my productiveness is still the same because I'm doing what I need to do to keep my baby alive, I don't get anything done other than that. And so it's been an adjustment for me, lack of sleep. And then once I wake up, I just hit the ground running in my 3-hour cycles of feeding and pumping, cleaning bottles, doing laundry, walking Raleigh, and it just happens all day long.
Right.
So it's definitely been an adjustment to have to change the daily to-do list, checking things off for me. Now I'm checking things off for our baby.
But we love our new normal.
Yes. So that is everything. And again, if you had a question that didn't get answered, I'm going to come onto Instagram and share some more of these because there's a lot more that we didn't get to. But thank you for watching.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, subscribe to our channel,
Yeah.
and we are going to have more to come. Our house
A lot of
is
fun
just,
stuff.
Yeah, our house is just at the drywall stage. And so they are installing cabinets today. And we are going to be sharing some more about that.
After they cleaned it up a little bit. They've been a bit messy.
So messy. But yeah, subscribe, give this video a like.
Yeah.
That's what other YouTubers do. So give this video a like, and we will see you in our next one.